In this video, I'm going to do a little bit of review of adding and subtracting polynomials, which you already did in the previous video. So we're really just simplifying, and we always like to write our answer in standard form. So I'm going to combine my like terms. I like to start with the terms with the highest exponent, so I started with my x cubed and 4x cubed. So that gets me 5x cubed. Next I'll move on to the x squareds, or the quadratic terms. So when I add 4x squared and negative 4x squared, I get 0x squared, so I'm not going to write that down. Next, I'll do the linear terms, so negative x and negative 4x combine to make negative 5x. And then lastly, we have plus 1 and minus 4, and when we add those together, we get negative 3. So there's our final answer in standard form. Now you want to be really careful with subtraction. You want to remember that you're subtracting these terms, not adding them. So what I like to do is to leave the first polynomial alone, right? Nothing's happening to that. But when you subtract this polynomial, you're really subtracting each term. So I'm going to distribute that negative sign. So I get negative 4x squared minus 3x and positive 1. So now I don't have to think about the subtraction or addition. All the signs tell me what to do. So let's start with our quadratic terms. And notice that I also circled the minus sign here, right? Because that goes along with this 4x squared. So I have a positive 1x squared and a negative 4x squared. Combining those gets us negative 3x squared. All right, moving on to our linear terms. Negative 4x and negative 3x combine to negative 7x. And to end it off, we have a plus 1 and plus 1 to get us a plus 2. And there again is our final answer, and it's in standard form ready. Excellent. Okay, so now our last problem. Take a look. You always want to pay attention to the sign in between these polynomials. What is the problem asking you to do? This one's subtracting. So I would do 2x squared plus 1 minus x, right? That's the first polynomial. And now I would distribute that negative sign. So we have minus 9x cubed minus 11x plus 4. And now to combine our like terms, notice that here we only have one cube term. So that's negative 9x cubed. We only have one quadratic term, so that's plus 2x squared. Oh, here at least we have two linear terms. So negative 1x and negative 11x is negative 12x. And then to finish it off, we have plus 1 and plus 4 to make plus 5. So there's our third answer, and it's also in standard form. So now let's try some multiplication. So in the first example, you might know terms like FOIL. I'm going to show you the box method, which I believe I've shown you before if you've been watching your videos. And the box is just a way of organizing each little individual multiplication problem. Right, so this says to multiply x times x. This box will do x times 3. Let me write those down. So x times x is x squared. X times 3 is 3x. And then in this box, we want to do negative 2 times x, and this one is negative 2 times 3. So negative 2x, and then this one's negative 3. You want to really be careful with your signs. Remember that the signs also matter when you're doing multiplication. Notice that on this diagonal, we have like terms. So I want you to remember that when we go into the next problem. But now that we've done the little individual multiplication problems, we have to simplify this. So we only have an x squared term, we need to combine our 3x and negative 2x, so that's plus x and minus 6. So now moving on to the second example, see how we have a trinomial and a binomial. So you may never have done this before, but I really like using this box to organize my work. So notice I'm going to give x squared its own column, the plus 2x its own column, and the plus 1 its own column. And then the x minus 3 gets split up into rows. So we have x and minus 3. So now I'm going to fill in each of those little mini multiplication problems. X times x squared is x cubed. X times 2x is 2x squared. And x times 1 is just x. Next row, we have negative 3x squared minus 6x minus 3. Remember how I said those diagonals have like terms? Well, it happened again here. The first diagonal has our quadratic terms, and the second has our linear. Good news for us. So let's write our answer in standard form. So I'll start off with x cubed. Next we have negative x squared minus 5x minus 3. Just like that. Okay, let's step it up a notch. Now I have a trinomial times a trinomial. So think of this as having 3 columns, and this is having 3 rows. How many mini multiplication problems would that be? Let's find out. Here are my columns. Again, don't forget your signs. And here are my rows. A 3 by 3 box really is helping you organize 9 multiplication problems. So really, this is a problem that has 9 problems in it. Right, so that box is really helpful to organize the work. It's not that you need to use it, it's just helpful to organize. So here we go. 3x squared times x squared is 3x to the 4th. The next box is negative 12x cubed. And the next one is 3x squared. And you should know exactly why x squared times x squared is x to the 4th. Next row, negative 4x times x squared is negative 4x cubed. Then we would get, this is why it's important to look at your signs, a negative 4x times a negative 4x is positive 16x squared. Then we have negative 4x. And then for our last row, it should be simple and quick, negative x squared, positive 4x, and negative 1. Okay, look at the like terms once again. They're on those diagonals. So here we go. Oops. We get 3x to the 4th minus 16x cubed. What is this? This is 19x squared minus x squared, so plus 18x squared. Oh, the negative 4x and the 4x cancel, and then we just get a minus 1. Excellent. Now notice that D is different. All the problems that we've done with multiplication have only had 2 sets of parentheses. This has 3. You are only allowed to multiply 2 sets at a time. So I've just picked which 2 we're going to multiply first. So I'm going to use my box just because I like that. So we have x plus 1 and x plus 2. Don't think that you can make this this other side here, the x minus 3. That's not correct. So you can only do 2 numbers at a time. You can only multiply 2 numbers at a time. So here we have x squared and x. Here we have 2x and 2. So this stuff just became x squared plus 3x plus 2. But now we have to take that answer and multiply it by the x minus 3 from here. That looks a lot like the problem above it. So I'm going to use my box. Look at that, it's already set up if I just set it up underneath there with the x minus 3. So here I get x cubed, 3x squared, and 2x. Here I get negative 3x squared, negative 9x, and negative 6. Let's just combine our like terms now. X cubed, oh, these cancel, minus 7x and minus 6. And there we go. Good luck on trying your own problems.